You know, over decades of medical practice, I have noticed something remarkable. More often than not, it is not serious illnesses or frightening diagnoses that destroy people, but rather the simplest habits. The ones we engage in every day without even thinking about them. We think, what could be wrong with that? Everyone does it. And then, years later, I see a person whose heart is working at its limit, whose blood vessels are like old pipes, and whose body is like a dilapidated house falling apart from the inside. And the scariest thing is that it all started with a tiny detail, a habit that no one pays attention to. Today, I'm going to tell you about one thing that millions of people do after eating. It would seem, what could be more natural? But believe me, it is this little thing that can shorten your life, rob you of your health, and accelerate aging. And most importantly, at the end of this video, I will reveal something that almost no one knows. A simple truth that I usually only tell my closest patients. And if you watch until the end, you will see how easy it is to change the course of your life. I am a doctor with more than 30 years of experience, and over the years, thousands of patients have passed through my hands. And you know what amazes me? People can take care of their loved ones for years, devote their energy to work, build a career, but at the same time not even realize that a small habit performed every day like a silent thief is stealing years of their life. Now imagine this. A warm family dinner. It's evening outside and you're finally relaxing after a long day. You feel pleasantly full, maybe even a little sleepy, and at this very moment you do what seems most natural. You are sure that it is harmless and maybe even beneficial, but in reality this action, like an invisible noose, tightens around your body, accelerating the wear and tear on your heart, stomach, and even your brain. Have you ever wondered why some people in their 60s can still easily climb mountains, laugh, and play with their grandchildren, while others can barely climb the stairs? What is the reason? Is it only in the genes? Is it just luck? Number? Very often it is due to such inconspicuous little things that destroy health over the years, and this action after eating is one of them. Now I will tell you something that many people underestimate. It's not just about the food we eat. It's about what we do immediately after eating. You will be surprised at how much these habits affect the body. And that is why I beg you, watch until the end. Because in the finale, I will reveal the main secret. What many doctors only tell their patients one-on-one when they see that a person is ready to change their life. In my experience, it is precisely middle age. After 50 or 60, that becomes decisive. The body is no longer as strong as it was in youth. It could still forgive the mistakes of youth, but now every little thing adds up. And here, we either consciously choose a long and active life or involuntarily accelerate aging. I will ask you one simple question. Do you allow yourself to enjoy life as much as you did in your youth? Or have fatigue, illness, and habits already robbed you of that feeling of lightness? Today, we will figure out together what action after eating becomes a trap for health, why it is so dangerous after the age of 50 to 60, and what can be done to change the situation. Believe me, it does not require expensive medicines or complicated procedures. It is a simple truth that can change your view of familiar things. And know this, I will reveal the most important, simplest, but truly life-changing thing at the very end. It is something I usually only tell my closest patients. So watch until the end. And please show this video to your parents, friends, and those who are dear to you. Because sometimes it is precisely this little truth that can prolong life. When we are young, it seems that our bodies forgive us for a lot. We eat something heavy at night, and the next day we are full of energy again. We stay up late, and in the morning we still go to work. Even if we did the very thing after eating that I am about to talk about, our bodies still seem to cope. But with age, the picture changes. The body becomes more vulnerable, and all processes slow down. The heart no longer works as easily. Digestion requires more care, and blood vessels lose their elasticity. What did not cause us any noticeable harm in our youth becomes an insidious enemy in adulthood. And here it is important to understand one simple thing. After the age of 50, any little thing, any wrong step, can cost us years of life. I remember one of my patients, a man in his 70s. He was cheerful, active, and loved company, but one habit accompanied him throughout his life. After eating, he always said, "Well, now I can relax," and he did exactly what seemed harmless. Years passed and the consequences accumulated in his body. When he came to me, he had problems with his blood pressure, stomach, and sleep. He said, "Doctor, I didn't do anything special. I lived like everyone else. That's exactly where the insidiousness lies. We live like everyone else and don't notice how we are undermining our own health. Why is this so important? The fact is that after eating, the digestive system works in a special mode. Imagine a stove into which you have just thrown some wood. The flames have flared up, and the whole system requires a calm balance so that the wood slowly turns into heat. But what will happen if, at this moment, you suddenly open all the windows and create a draft? The fire could go out or burst out. The same thing happens with our body. Immediately after eating, it needs certain conditions, but we often do the opposite. That is why psychological and physical health become particularly closely linked after the age of 50 to 60. If we take the wrong steps, the body responds not only with pain or discomfort. It responds with fatigue, loss of energy, sleep disturbances, and anxiety. And then a person comes and says, "Doctor, I no longer enjoy life as I used to. Everything is pulling me down. I beg you, don't ignore this." Because it is precisely these little things that become invisible bricks in the wall that separates us from a full, happy life. I had a patient, a 65-year-old woman. She had lived a very active life, working, raising children, helping her grandchildren. But after she retired, her health began to deteriorate rapidly. She didn't understand why. After all, her diet was simple and healthy, and she tried to walk and exercise. It was only when we analyzed her daily habits that we discovered she was doing the very thing after eating that was quietly destroying her body. She was surprised. Is it really that important? Yes, it is important, especially when the body is no longer as strong as it used to be. The wisdom of mature age lies in being able to notice and let go of the unnecessary. We can no longer afford to live to the fullest, as we did in our youth. We need to learn to take care of ourselves, not on a whim, but because the quality of our lives depends on it. And here's the truth. Wisdom is not only the experience of years lived, it is also the ability to stop in time and change habits. Many people think that everything is already predetermined. What can I change at 60? Believe me, you can change a lot. I have seen people who started new habits at 70 and looked 10 years younger a year later, all because they realized that it is never too late to take care of yourself. So now I want you to take an honest look at your habits. Not what your neighbors told you or what your parents did, but your own daily actions. After all, they are what determines whether you will be energetic and joyful or tired and irritable. So we are gradually approaching the most important part. In the next section, I will give you the first key recommendation, tell you what most people do after eating and why it is so dangerous. And most importantly, I will give you practical advice on what you can do instead so that you will feel the difference in a week. Stay tuned because next we will move from explanations to specific steps, and that's where the most interesting part begins. Now let me tell you straight up what many people do after eating without even thinking about it. Most people lie down to rest immediately after finishing a meal. Some lie down on the sofa just for 5 minutes, some collapse in an armchair in front of the TV, and some even allow themselves a short nap. And this is the very habit that seems harmless, but is actually slowly destroying your health. Why? Because after eating, the body switches to active digestion mode. The stomach secretes juices, the intestines begin to work, and blood rushes to the abdominal organs. At this moment, it is vital for the body that the process proceeds naturally. But when we lie down, especially completely horizontally, food tends to stagnate. Reflux begins, acid enters the esophagus, heartburn and heaviness appear, and over time, inflammation and even serious diseases. I remember one man, my patient, who was 62 years old. He often complained of burning and an unpleasant taste in his mouth. We searched for the cause for a long time and examined his stomach. And only when I asked him in detail about his daily habits did everything become clear. After lunch, he always lay down on his side. He said it was more comfortable that way. And what do you think? When he stopped doing this, after a couple of weeks, his complaints practically disappeared. He himself was surprised. Could it really be such a small thing? Yes, exactly. Small things shape our lives. In my experience, it is precisely middle age that makes us particularly vulnerable to such small things. A young body can still cope. The muscles and valves of the esophagus are stronger and the metabolism is faster. But after 50, things are different. Mild heartburn turns into chronic inflammation and slight weakness turns into constant fatigue. And if you continue to lie down after eating, it will imperceptibly steal your health every day. What should you do? It's very simple. Instead of lying down, you need to give your body some gentle activity. I always advise my patients to walk for at least 10 to 15 minutes after eating. This does not mean that you have to walk quickly or do sports. It is enough to go outside, walk around the house, and breathe fresh air. Even if you stay at home, you can just walk around a little, do something calm, for example, water the flowers or clear the table. I beg you, try this for at least a week. After just a few days, you will feel that the heaviness after eating goes away faster, you feel less sleepy, and your mood improves. You will feel lighter, and you will surprise yourself. What has changed? What has changed is that you have given your body the opportunity to function properly. I had a patient, a 58-year-old woman. She had suffered from heavy stomach all her life. After eating, she felt the urge to lie down, and she thought, well, what's wrong with just resting a little? But when we replaced the habit of lying down with the habit of taking a walk, a month later she came and said, "Doctor, I feel like I've gotten younger. I no longer have this constant fatigue after eating. Here's a simple exercise. Tomorrow, after breakfast or lunch, instead of lying down or sitting in a chair, go out and walk 500 to 1,000 steps. It will only take 10 minutes, but the benefits for your body will be enormous. And if you make it a habit, in 6 months, you won't recognize yourself. Remember, it's not food itself that is most often harmful, but what we do immediately after eating. And the habit of lying down is one of the most common hidden enemies of health after the age of 50. And know this is only the first step. In the second recommendation, I will talk about something that not only helps the soul, but also literally slows down brain aging. This discovery amazed even me, and I want to share it with you. We have already figured out that the habit of lying down after eating is one of the most insidious traps for health. But that's only part of the picture. There is another thing that most people don't even think about. It directly affects how quickly our brain ages, how clearly we think, how soundly we sleep, and even how often we have disturbing dreams. And you know what's most surprising? It has to do with what we do at the table and immediately after. I'm talking about a second habit that seems simple but can either preserve mental clarity or accelerate mental decline. Many people immediately reach for their phone or TV after eating. It would seem that there is nothing wrong with that. Browsing the news, checking messages, watching a TV series. But let's think about it. At this moment, digestion is working at full capacity, and the body is expending energy to digest food. At the same time, we are loading the brain with information, and most often not the most pleasant kind. News, advertising, endless images. Instead of resting and switching gears, the brain receives additional stress. In my experience, people who avoid this trap live longer and feel happier. I have seen patients who, at 70, had clear memories, sharp minds, and vitality. When I asked them about their habits, they said, "Doctor, I never pick up the phone after a meal. I go out for some fresh air, talk to my family, listen to music." Those who sat in front of a screen for hours complained of forgetfulness, anxiety, and insomnia as early as age 60. Why is this so important in adulthood? With age, the nervous system becomes more sensitive, and the brain requires more resources to recover. Any extra stress, especially information overload, literally accelerates the aging process. If we overload our brains with unnecessary information after eating, it doesn't have time to recover. This leads to fatigue, irritability, and even memory problems. Let me give you an example. A 63-year-old woman came to me complaining of insomnia and anxiety. We checked her heart and stomach. Everything was fine. But when I asked her about her evenings, it turned out that she ended every dinner by watching the news. Immediately, the TV, the news feed, discussing the horrors of the world with her husband. As a result, instead of resting, her body was under double stress on her digestion and her psyche. When we replaced this habit with calm walks after meals and banned TV for at least an hour after dinner, her sleep returned within a month. She herself said, "I feel alive again." So my advice is simple. Give your brain some quiet time after eating. Don't pick up your phone or turn on the TV. Instead, try a little breathing exercise. Take 3 slow breaths in and out, go outside, listen to the birds, watch the sky. Let your brain rest instead of working. Believe me, it's a small thing, but it literally slows down brain aging. Because in these moments, the body and mind are in unison. The body digests food, and the mind learns to be at peace. And one more small detail. Try talking to your loved ones during or immediately after a meal, without phones, without TV. Live communication and kind words are the best food for the brain. Studies confirm that people who regularly talk with their loved ones at the table are less likely to suffer from dementia. Remember, silence and tranquility after a meal are not a luxury, they are medicine for your brain. But there is another point that people often underestimate, and it can literally destroy a person if overlooked. I will talk about this in the third tip, and I warn you right away. We are talking about a habit that slowly kills, even though it seems completely harmless. We have already discussed two important points. You should not lie down after eating, and you should not overload your brain with unnecessary information. But there is another habit that people engage in literally every day without giving it much thought. And unfortunately, it is this habit that slowly and imperceptibly destroys the body. I am talking about the fact that many people immediately reach for tea, coffee, or a cigarette after eating. Some people think, how can I not have a cup of tea after lunch? Others believe that coffee helps them wake up and get their act together. And for some, a cigarette after a meal is already part of the ritual. But the truth is that these actions are a silent enemy of health. Why is it so dangerous? After eating, blood is actively directed to the stomach and intestines. The body works at full capacity to digest food. If we add caffeine or nicotine at this moment, we create double stress. The heart begins to work faster, the blood vessels constrict, and blood pressure spikes. A cup of coffee or a cigarette may seem like a small thing, but if you do this every day for decades, your body wears out much faster. In my experience, it is this habit in adulthood that most often leads to heart attacks, strokes, and chronic stomach diseases. I have seen dozens of patients who said, "Doctor, I never abused alcohol, I ate simple food, but coffee after a meal or a cigarette is sacred." And what? At 60, they have ulcers, hypertension, and some even have the first signs of a stroke. Let me tell you a story. One of my patients, a 66-year-old man, began and ended every meal with a cup of strong coffee. He believed that it helped him stay alert. But in recent years, he complained of tremors, blood pressure spikes, and insomnia. When we eliminated coffee after meals and replaced it with plain warm water or herbal tea after just a month, he said, "For the first time in many years, I feel calm. I don't have that constant anxiety anymore." The same goes for tea. Many people don't know that strong black tea after meals interferes with the absorption of iron and certain vitamins. This is especially dangerous for women and older people, leading to anemia, weakness, and dizziness. But all you have to do is wait 30 to 40 minutes and tea or coffee will no longer cause harm. What about cigarettes? It's even worse. Nicotine after a meal increases the production of gastric juice, which is a direct path to gastritis and ulcers. Plus, it instantly disrupts the functioning of blood vessels. It is a slow poison that a person inhales voluntarily, at the very moment when the body is already under stress. I beg you, don't ignore this, because this habit destroys a person slowly and imperceptibly. Today it's just a cup of coffee or a cigarette. Tomorrow, chronic gastritis. In a couple of years, high blood pressure. And then suddenly a stroke or heart attack comes. And the person says, "How could this happen? I didn't drink, I didn't go out, I lived right." But the truth is that every day, with their own hands, they shortened their own life. What to do? The answer is simple. If you love tea or coffee, give your body at least half an hour after eating. Let digestion go through its main stage and only then enjoy your aromatic drink. If you smoke, know this. It is cigarettes after meals that have the greatest impact on the body. If you are not ready to quit yet, at least eliminate this cigarette. This is already a huge step towards health. And most importantly, replace coffee or tea with plain warm water. It gently helps the stomach, facilitates liver function, and removes toxins. I often advise my patients to drink half a glass of warm water after a meal, and they themselves notice how their digestion improves and the heaviness disappears. Remember, 3 simple steps. Don't lie down. Don't overload your brain. Don't drink coffee or smoke after meals. Can save you years of life, clarity of mind, and emotional balance. And this is where it all comes together. These habits seem simple, but they either work against us or for us. If you eliminate them, your body will thank you every day with lightness, vigor, restful sleep, and joy of life. And now I want to say one important thing. At the end of this video, I promise to reveal something that I usually only tell my closest patients, a simple truth that can literally change your life. And now, the most important thing, the thing I promise to reveal only at the end. We have come a long way in this conversation, and if you have read this far, it means that you really care about yourself and your future, and that is already a huge step. Trust my experience. Those who are ready to hear simple truths and apply them in their lives change faster than others. Let's gently and calmly review the 3 main tips we've discussed. Don't lie down after eating. Give your body a chance to work properly. A light walk or calm activity will help your body digest food more easily and relieve heaviness and drowsiness. Don't overload your brain with unnecessary information. After eating, enjoy silence, peace, lively conversation, or a few minutes of breathing. This is not just rest, it slows down brain aging and protects the nervous system. Do not drink strong tea or coffee, and especially do not smoke immediately after eating. Give your body at least half an hour, and you will notice how much easier life has become. It seems like 3 simple steps, but they are precisely what can preserve your health, clarity of mind, and joy of life. And now, the promised bonus. Something I usually only tell patients when I see that a person is ready to change. I always say, after eating, try the gratitude breathing technique. It sounds simple, but it works wonders. Here's how to do it. Sit up straight and place your hands on your stomach. Take a deep breath through your nose and feel your stomach rise. As you exhale, say to yourself, "Thank you." Do this 3 times in a row, calmly and without rushing. Why is this necessary? It's not just that breathing aids digestion and relieves vascular spasms. The main thing is that you are tuning yourself into gratitude. And gratitude is a feeling that prolongs life. Studies show that people who regularly experience gratitude live longer and get sick less often. So make it your little ritual. After eating, take 3 breaths and say, "Thank you" 3 times. For the food, for life, for your loved ones. You will be surprised how your mood changes and how differently your body feels. Another small habit is warm water. Not cold, not carbonated, but warm. Half a glass after a meal and your body will be grateful. It's a gentle way to help your liver and stomach. And now I want to tell you the most important thing. In adulthood, we receive a special gift, the gift of time. We have already accomplished a lot, raised children, built a life, gone through difficulties. But the most valuable thing now is to preserve the years for ourselves, for joy, for those we love. And this gift depends on us. Take care of yourself. Your time is valuable at any age. Even small steps can change your life for the better. You don't need to do anything heroic, just get rid of 3 bad habits and add a couple of healthy rituals. In a month, you will already feel the difference, and in a year, you will say to yourself, "I'm so glad I started then." I beg you, don't put it off. Start tomorrow, try 1 step, a walk, breathing, warm water. And you will see for yourself that life becomes easier, brighter, and happier. And one last thing. Please show this video to your loved ones, maybe your parents, your friends, because sometimes a simple piece of knowledge can save your health and prolong your life. Write in the comments which of these tips resonates with you the most. Share your experience. Tell us what habits you have after eating. It will be very important for me to read this, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new conversations about health, wisdom, and harmony in adulthood. We have many more important topics ahead of us, and each of them has the potential to change your life. Take care of yourself. You deserve to live a long, happy, and harmonious life.